wonder what's hot in the baking world right now? It's not even that complicated. You get store-bought croissants, cut them open, shove in some store-bought cookie dough, and that's it.
Hi everyone, I'm Gemma Stafford, professional chef, cookbook author, and creator of Bigger Bolder Baking. Welcome to Need to Know, your go-to podcast for everything baking entertainment. From the latest trends,
this is the viral scrambled pancake trend.
What? To the tips and tricks you crave.
We discovered that if you take apple peels, toss them in a little cinnamon and sugar, and bake them for about an hour in the oven, you get a really lovely treat.
Plus exclusive interviews with baking pros.
Hey, it's Liz from the Sugar Geek Show. Thanks for having me, Gemma.
We've even got the Bold Baking Hotline to answer all of your baking queries and questions.
Is a Dutch oven really necessary for baking bread, and what difference does it make?
Yes, I think we probably would agree on that, do we, Oni?
Yeah, good. So join us every Sunday for your new weekly baking ritual. It's everything you need to know.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Want to taste a flight of rare agave spirits at Rick Bayless's award-winning Bar Sotano? Or on La Barca Cantina, the storied taco boat touring New York's Hudson River? Or do you want to drink a special lager from the Maine Beer Company? Or how about coffee? Want to start your morning with a Mexican roast from the genius crew at Dark Matter? Well, you can do all those things and support Sacred in the process. Sacred is a not-for-profit that helps improve quality of life in the rural Mexican communities that make heritage agave spirits. We ask Mezcalerics what problems they have, what solutions they imagine to resolve those problems, and what resources they need to enact those solutions. Then, we go out and try to find those resources for them. All of those businesses I just mentioned, Bar Sotano, La Barca Cantina, Maine Beer Company, and Dark Matter Coffee, all of them have special offerings on right now that support Sacred. To learn more about these supportive, creative ventures, visit sacredagave.org/fun. That's sacredagave.org/fun, because real fun is also doing real good.
Agave Road Trip. Agave Road Trip.
I am Lou Bank.
I am Linda Sullivan.
And this is Agave Road Trip, the critically acclaimed award-winning podcast that helps growing ex-bartenders, bitterness, and agave spirits in rural Mexico.
Mexico.
Wow, Linda.
Mexico.
You were a little slow on the uptake. I stepped all over you on that one.
Sometimes, Lou, you got to just leave it at the classic level, which is the
that's
Lou
fair.
Bank intro.
Okay. Yes. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Roy, can you please dub over Lou's voice and let me do the whole intro? I am Lou Bank, and I am Linda Sullivan. And this is Agave Road Trip, the critically acclaimed podcast for Gringex bartenders and rural Mexico.
Okay, Linda. How do you like your mezcal? Do you like it environmentally sustainable?
Oh, of course I do.
Okay, well, let me talk to you about what I consider the most environmentally sustainable mezcal brand.
Wow, that sounds great.
Okay, so this mezcal brand, they replant agave in the wild.
We like it.
They use solar power.
Ooh, that's cool.
They only cook with wood that has been certified as in essence, fallen wood.
Oh, interesting. So they
Right.
don't need to replant all the trees.
Exactly.
Like I do for using so much paper.
Though they do also replant trees.
Hey.
They convert their bagaso, that's the agave fiber. Did you know that? The leftover agave fiber?
I do know that. Do
Yeah.
all of our Gringex bartenders know that?
Well, they do now.
Bagaso.
Bagaso. Swear I got into a great big hasso. So they convert their bagaso into biodegradable planters.
Oh, that's a
Right?
great idea. That's like the original way that they used to make paper, like from pulp. That's kind of what that seems like.
Yeah, it's old
Neat.
school.
Okay.
They are literally a model of best practices in the mezcal industry.
Do I know them?
And they just left the market because nobody supported them.
Oh, that sounds like it's going to be a bummer. Do our Gringex bartenders know this producer?
Well, you're saying producer, but really what you mean is brand.
Oh, brand. Okay. Yep.
right?
They source. Well,
It's, Linda,
yes.
it's Zignum.
Oh gosh, it's been a long time since you've talked about Zignum. You used to
That you
love-
forgot about them.
Okay, all of our Gringex bartenders, do you remember when Lou used to talk about Zignum with Chava, who was clearly not the same type of fan?
So I want to run these quotes.
Get out! They left the market.
Yeah, I think they're still available in like Miami because they have a restaurant down there. And so you could get it anywhere in Florida, but I think they're just now in Southern Florida, just in Miami.
Have they always committed to these practices?
Yes. Let me run this quote from Ana Lucia before we get it too far away from it.
We are really focusing in the oldest agave to grow up, like the Toala or the Madre Cuiche. And in this greenhouse, we only have wild agaves. And we have agriculture engineers to see how this type of wild agaves reproduces. We are replanting into the wild with the foundation. We support these communities outside Oaxaca that have their own plants or their own fields, and we support with these baby agaves. And as you mentioned, we are really focused on maintaining the environment. So first of all, we only use certificate wood for the cooking process. That it's really important. Mostly the mesquite tree is the most popular in Oaxaca to do the cooking process, and we only buy certified wood. This is really important because you start seeing the reforestation all over Oaxaca, and it's starting to be an issue for the water and everything. And also we have our solar panels to heat the water for the distillation process. That it's really important.
So
Is the brand run by, that was a woman, right?
Yeah.
Ana Lucia, is it run by her?
So I would hesitate to say yes because I'm not clear on exactly the what do you call the tree?
The hierarchy of
but what I do
She's a
know
part
is
of the
brand is owned by a woman.
Oh, okay.
Now that woman happens to be the granddaughter of the guy who brought Coca-Cola to Mexico, and she still owns all the Coca-Cola rights.
Oh, wow. So she's a billionaire.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
She's Mexican.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Extra rich and extra Mexican.
Yeah. But
Okay, wait. Can I ask more questions?
please.
I don't know what direction we're driving in, which this is normal. Gringex bartenders. I have no idea where we're going. But has Zignum the only bottle that I remember being in market was the black one with, was it black and white, the label?
I think so, though they switched to new branding.
Like
it was
a new
right
look.
before it sort of made it look to me sort of like Egyptian. It was weird,
Okay.
but
But
fancier.
she mentioned Tobala and Karwinski, right?
Well, yeah, this is the fascinating point is they've never made a spirit using that. They literally
Get out.
are germinating the seeds and then handing them out to communities to plant in the wild to ensure that the agave population remains diverse.
Oh, no wonder they had to pull from the market. They've used all her billionaire funds. They're giving those away for free.
Yes, they're giving them away for free. Like, hey, Coca-Cola in
making them-
Mexico, it's not like she ran out of money. It
No.
literally was lack of interest. Lack of interest.
But my question was, do they produce varietals? I've only ever seen
No, they only do Espadín.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But, my complaint about Oaxacan Espadín is, oh my God, you're turning Oaxaca into a monoculture. And
Yeah.
here they literally were combating that.
Totally. But I'm I feel like I'm missing some pieces. Why would they go to all that work to germinate and hand out the Madre Cuiche and the Tobala, but then only make agave spirit from Espadín, which clearly was causing them a problem because people weren't buying it? What if they had bottled some of that
hang on a
Tobala or
second.
that Madre Cuiche?
Nobody was ignoring them because they were using Espadín from Oaxaca.
Oh, not
'cause
everyone
that is
agrees with us?
That is 93% of what sells. It's not that. You know, they're using the diffuser to make their mezcal, the most industrial way to convert agave into booze.
Oh, wow. It's
the
hard
diffuser.
to hold all of these things that disagree with each other. They're doing all these environmental things, but they're using a diffuser?
Well, I would argue that, in fact, the diffuser is the most environmentally conscious way to convert agave into mezcal.
Well, how often one of the big things that comes to my mind with diffuser is how often people are putting underripe agave in there because the diffuser will do the rest of the work.
Well, you can, but in essence, you're saying it'll do the rest of the work, and it won't. I mean, it will, but it won't in the way that you're saying it. So I would argue that if you want to maximize the conversion of your sugars into booze, but really the conversion of your agavins into fermentable sugars and then into booze, right?
Right.
You're not going to get more efficient than the diffuser. And
is that what that's not what we want as drinkers at Gringex bartenders.
Look, it's not what I want.
That's a business decision. How much can we get out of this? You and I have recorded lots of episodes talking about efficiency. Yeah. And a lot of times we don't care about efficiency because...
Right, we care about flavor in the same way that a Lalo doesn't care about efficiency. He cares about the flavor.
Exactly.
But the vast majority of people drinking mezcal in the USA are drinking it in cocktails.
Cocktail, I know.
And as a result...
For now, okay? For now.
Yeah, sure. So as a result, right, we're creating this monoculture. Well, if you want to do it efficiently and you want to do it in a way that literally supports the biodiversity of Oaxaca, here is a company that was doing that.
What is your conclusion?
My conclusion is
that we don't really care about environmental stuff. We drinkers.
We talk a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I think that that's true. However, why didn't, if Zygnum was priced right for a cocktail and was Oaxacan Espadín just like half the other cocktail things are besides for our brilliant episode?
Yeah.
Why didn't it? Where was the fail?
You know, I think it comes down to the fact that mezcal is still so small, right? So mezcal, as you and I are talking in the mobile studio, is about 3.5% of tequila by volume. And when you think about that 3.5%, that means the vast majority is purchased by liquor stores and by bars and restaurants where you and I know them. We basically know them.
Yeah.
And those people are making their buying decisions based on the geeky information. If you think about like tequila, everybody buys tequila. It's hard for the geeks to rule it. Even having said that, when you think about the additive-free movement and how that has redirected a lot of tequila purchases, I would say, you know, not at a mass level, but it's made a blip where you notice it, right? Well, those people who are obsessed with additive-free tequila, you transfer that over to the mezcal market, and it tends to be, by and large, the people making buying decisions at those restaurants, at those bars, at those liquor stores who don't want to support this thing.
The diffuser.
Don't want to support the diffuser, exactly.
Detail that you're talking about. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so they ignore, part of your point at least, is that they ignore all of these other things that we say we care about.
Right.
But our actions are showing that we hate so quickly when we hear diffuser that none of those things are even getting the chance to come through as variables for our choice.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yep. Okay.
Fascinating, right?
Yeah.
You know, I used to be as anti-Zygnum, and I've said this in the podcast before.
No, you haven't been. You were anti-Zygnum?
Wait, seriously? Oh, then I do have to say it again. Yeah, so I was...
You're always talking about people can drink whatever they want, like even if we don't think that it's high level.
Oh, Linda.
You're devil's advocating for Zygnum all these years?
I used to be the hater.
Oh, you came around, you're saying?
Well, yeah, it's funny. So they reached out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lou Bank has softened in opinion. Stay tuned.
He's gotten old. So speaking of old white guys, David Hammond and I were visiting with our friend Roberto. We were visiting Oaxaca back in 2017. I want to say it was April of 2017. Because
Happy birthday, Linda. April of 2017.
The entire month. Oh, wait, that's when you were born?
No.
You were born yesterday. So we were visiting Oaxaca 2017 so David could write some articles about mezcal. And he got back And there was this guy from Zignum, from their marketing department, who had been like sending him emails and sending him letters and sending him bottles and trying to get his attention. And David was finally like, okay. And he wrote him back and he said, look, I just came back from a trip to Oaxaca with Lou Bank, and I met all these mezcaleros and I saw the real stuff, and I got to be honest, like, I don't see a story in what you're doing. I'm not interested in it. I'm really interested in these small producers. And the guy was like, can we get on the phone? And this went on for a couple exchanges before David said, hey, Lou, would you be willing to get on the phone with me to talk to the guys at Zignum? And I was like, oh, David, are you kidding me?
Of course.
On.
He knew who to ask.
Right? And I felt like, okay, let's get in this ring. I'm in this with you, David.
You had your gloves on already?
Oh, I did. I was suited up, and I shaved my back, and we got on the call. And, the guy was, he was pleasant. He was a really nice guy. Also named David is my recollection.
Oh.
And so he said, so, why won't you guys like come down and visit us?
Why won't you pay attention to us?
Yeah. He said, and I said, well, look, David, I got to be honest with you. These were almost my exact words. I know the example I'm about to use is the example. I said, like, you guys are, I've tasted Zignum and it's not bad, but you're basically the Olive Garden of mezcals.
Like when you want unlimited soup and salad with garlic breadsticks, you'll do it, but not on the regular.
And he said, oh my God, that is exactly what we're trying to be. And suddenly I thought, I just got sucker punched, just trying to be, And so we went further down that road until he said, look, let me just fly you guys down to Oaxaca for 3 days, visit the distillery, see what we're doing. And I said, look, if you are telling me that you're going to fly me to Oaxaca for free and put me up and feed me, like, I'm not going to say no, but I'm also going to tell you, I'm never going to say I like the taste of Zignum.
I can't be bought.
Right.
I'll go, but
yeah,
I'm not going to change my opinion.
Yeah.
Is kind of where you were at.
And I didn't change my opinion on the flavor.
Yeah.
But I did change my opinion on who they are and what they're doing.
Interesting.
It opened my eyes to, the diffuser, it is not the device of Satan. It's, it doesn't produce anything. I've never had anything that came out of a diffuser that I actually wanted to drink a second time.
Right.
But my palate, and this was the first epiphany for me, my palate isn't the right palate. It's just my palate. Number one. Number two, what they are doing is more environmentally sound. The way that they process the vinasse, the way they reuse water, the way that they're replanting agave in the wild. And then we spent one whole day where I just met all of these artists in Oaxaca who were being underwritten by, funded by, receiving grants from Zignum. Yeah.
Really?
And they were and then these communities that were being supported with their replanting efforts, not even just of agave, but of wood, and helping with their water sources.
Yeah, it's really hard to remain in the hater corner after hearing more of the narrative. Yeah. However, what do you do with like the cognitive dissonance of, I'm not interested in drinking this, but I believe in what they're doing? So like now they I don't know if they folded or if they just pulled mostly out of the market
they didn't
for
fold.
right now.
They're all over Mexico because Mexicans don't care. Yeah.
Mexicans like it.
Oh yeah, they sell
popular.
they sell the hell out of it in Mexico.
Okay, well that's a whole nother interesting piece about the difference between what folks are looking for from the mezcal in Mexico versus what we're looking for in the US. But to me, in order to get excited about something, like I'm even thinking of other cocktaily brands that I use a lot that are fine. I'm not going to wax eloquent about this Espadín from Oaxaca that I have as a workhorse bottle that I use a lot for cocktails. But if they have the narrative like Zignum has, maybe I would talk about it more or be more invested in it. The part that I'm struggling with is like you're so confidently saying, I've tasted it a number of times. I'm not going to change my mind on that.
Nope.
I don't love it.
Yeah.
Right. I don't even remember tasting Zignum. I may have in the past, but I know I've never had a bottle.
Yeah.
So if there's a dissonance there, if the taste sucks, but the story is good, if you take that scenario into any other category, I would probably not jump on board either. right? Like I need the both and. If it doesn't taste good, I won't hate on it,
Right.
but I'm going to have a really hard time touting that story, rising it up, putting it on a pedestal when there's the like flabby denouement of like, yeah, but I don't like it.
Well, and I'll say this as well. I don't like it, but I don't hate it, flavor-wise.
So
right?
this would be true for me for other brands.
But this is exactly what I'm talking about.
We don't need to name, I don't agree with some practices.
Yes.
But I don't like the taste, perhaps. But I do agree with other things they're doing, and I think it's great for the communities.
And realistically, you drink any of these cocktail mezcals, and by and large, nobody's going to want to drink them neat. They're not made for drinking neat. They're made for drinking in cocktails. If you're going to make a cocktail, make it with something that the average consumer doesn't care.
I know,
make it with something that is so much more support. And
but then do I have to? I'm going to mention Jim Meehan, my hero out there in the world.
He's
on
your
the
Lalo.
West Coast. Totally. Yeah, you probably mentioned Lalo in every episode. Yeah. He feels great. Well, Jim, I love what you do. But that's that concept that I always say from his cocktail making, that it can only be as good as your worst ingredient. So if I don't like the taste of it neat, that doesn't mean I'm going to pour myself a 3/4 ounce glass, sit in front of the fire. If I don't like the taste of it neat, I'm probably not going to make a cocktail with it.
Well, but you just admitted that you do exactly that with other brands and with other spirits. Look, there is the perfect cocktail, and then there's the cocktail that's going to satisfy on a Friday night the average customer. And if you want to tell me, oh, I'm only going to make the most perfect cocktails, I'm calling bullshit on you,
okay,
Linda.
All right. Yes. Oh, man. Yes, but.
Yes, and.
Well, I don't know. Improv class is over here. Because I want the integrity and the strive for excellence with which I sip mezcales and make cocktails. I want that to be the value that I'm going for, but I'm not going to lie and say that I've never done a little dirty dump situation for a cocktail on a Friday night.
You have to. You couldn't work at a bar and not.
Well, that's why I don't work at bars anymore, but that's neither here nor there. Right? Because what you're saying now is, this is hearkening also back to our previous podcast, Are They Going to Release an Order? Where we tasted all the margaritas.
That's out this Thursday.
Okay. Yeah. So that will be out. Gringex bartenders, go listen to that, because it's an interesting parallel that I want to believe that every one of those little details does make a difference. But in a lot of cases, like what you just said about your palate, right? There's not like a correct palate that we're all striving to achieve. Mm-hmm. We all have different palates, and they're affected by things that happen today, the ways that we grew up, genetics, blah, blah, right? I want it to be true that if the taste of Zignum is not good, I don't want to use it in a cocktail because no one will like that cocktail. Is that actually true in reality? No.
Right.
If you're working at a high level bar, right? We're talking about, like a Meadowlark or an Alderman here in Chicago,
sure.
or right, even like a bar sotano, right? Really intentional about each ingredient we use in the cocktail. I think it does matter. But if you're talking about a margarita at like a delicious, but maybe not cocktail focused Latino place, Latinx place, Mexican place.
Or Olive Garden. They have a mezcal margarita.
Olive Garden does.
Yeah.
You definitely checked this, didn't you? Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't order it, but that doesn't mean that it's not good for someone else.
Could you say that one more time so that Roy can grab the clip clean for the promo I have coming up?
I wouldn't order it.
No. The part about me being right.
Lou is right once a century, and it hasn't happened yet this century.
Cut off the last part of that, Roy. Anyway, I'm tempted to start a petition online to get Zignum back in the market, but I also know that based on the prejudices of really our listenership, it'll never happen. It would just be me. I don't think you'd even sign on to that.
What do you think would happen if Zignum folded the brand Zignum?
Yeah.
Like they pulled out of market now, and then the next step would be to fold, and then maybe not even transparently at first, they re-released under a new brand and took control of their narrative, really touting the environmental direction. What do you suspect would be the response to that?
Well, I suspect because the market is so small that the word would get out very quickly. I just don't think you can hide things in this market. At least not something as big as a Zignum. But I'll tell you, like, I think the one thing I would love for them, if they do come back into our market, that I'd love for them to change is stop using Espadín, stop making it in Oaxaca. If they were making what they're making now, same way, right? But they moved their facility to, move
Zacatecas, San Luis Potosí.
There you go.
Guanajuato.
Zacatecas, exactly. Zacatecas
Puebla.
would be, yeah.
Anywhere, like there are other places. Now, what would change in their variables, right? They would have to stay out of market probably a little longer to figure out how that stuff would grow and change and taste different in the end product in a different location.
It's in a diffuser. It's not going to change. Like the beauty of the diffuser is it homogenizes everything. Like it's like the flavor is so homogenous, right? This is why I don't like it. Like it's smooth, it's easy to drink.
What if they keep doing all that? Why don't they keep doing all the economic practices that they're doing for the pro environment that we love and switch from a diffuser? Why is that not of interest to them?
Because then they can't make it efficiently, and then it's not sustainable.
Well, right now they can't make it at all if they pulled it from the market.
Well, they can because they're selling the hell out of it
in Mexico.
Yeah. If they moved their plant to, as you say, Zacatecas actually would be ideal. If they moved to Zacatecas and made it, like, boy, I would lobby so hard for them to get back in the market. I think we need to walk the walk. We need to walk the talk. We need to walk the talk. If we really care about sustainable.
Yeah, that we care about what we say we care about.
Yeah.
But we say we care about the diffuser, and we do.
What?
We say we care about the diffuser in that we do not like it. We don't like how it homogenizes the spirit.
Oh, that's for your palate.
And that is showing.
And that's for your palate.
Right, but
you're not actually showing.
You're cherry picking a detail that you want to see highlighted more, but the words and the actions do match up on the diffuser opinion. I'm just noting the.
Yeah, but it's a hollow opinion.
Why?
Why don't you like the diffuser?
Because it doesn't make mezcal that I like the flavor of.
Oh. That's interesting. So your palate is more...
Same for you. Same for lots of other people.
So your palate is more important than the vast majority of human beings. Because you pour Zignum for the average consumer, they're going to go, oh, yeah, I like this. It's much easier to drink than all the other mezcals in the market.
You should stage that experiment. I don't know if that's true. Pick regular people.
Oh, I have.
And tasted Zignum and blind?
Literally, I'm not even blind. I've brought it to my tastings. When I do things out in the public... I brought it and I've shared it with people and they love it. In fact, it goes faster than the average mezcal.
Okay, that also happens with other brands that the reason that the layman loves it is because of like a chemical thing that they're doing that to me is not authentic. So like just because
the authentic episode will be next.
But so what I'm saying is that not everyone's opinion matters equally.
And clearly,
but that is true. That could be funny in mezcal, but that is true in like serious, important careers, right? My opinion about the architecture of a building doesn't matter as much as the architecture's opinion, right? Because he has knowledge and experience that I don't have.
Okay.
Why would it be goofy for that to be true in the agave world? Not everyone's opinion is the same.
Okay, but again, I'm going to go back to what you said, which is you've made cocktails with mezcales that you would not drink neat, that you don't like the flavor of. So,
well, did I say that I don't like the flavor of them?
Yes.
Or did I?
Yeah.
Roy? If it doesn't taste good, I won't hate on it,
right.
But I'm going to have a really hard time touting that story, rising it up, putting it on a pedestal when there's the like flabby denouement of like, yeah, but I don't like it. So
right?
this would be true for me for other brands.
But this is exactly what I'm talking about.
We don't need to name,
That is
but
this is
I don't agree with some practices.
Yes.
But I don't like the taste, perhaps.
Okay, so you're saying, hey, if you want to change your mind and say you do like the flavor, that's okay. You can do that.
Well, I would never choose them to sip because I know how much nuanced and interesting things are out there. A person who doesn't know as much might choose that to sip.
And they might choose Zignum to sip.
Well, clearly they did not. They had to leave market because they
never
weren't
had the
making money.
opportunity to, because the people who control what gets put in front of the average consumer said, you don't get to taste this. And as a result...
You want all the regular people to have the opportunity to taste it and deny it?
Yes.
Don't you think the people with experience are doing a service within that expertise?
Because again, like you just admitted, you're pouring stuff that you wouldn't drink neat, and you're having this for other.
But that's
it's
okay.
Literally
There's
a
different
prejudice.
purposes
it's
for
just
different
a prejudice,
bottles.
Linda.
I don't think it's just a prejudice. I think
it's also a bias.
experience. But I think
it's not experience. It's your experience. And you, I'm sorry, are not a licensed architect. Like, I'm going to trust an architect to build something that, and my wife is an architect, Connie.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
going to trust an architect
category for that example.
to build something that will not collapse on me.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, if I don't like the look of it, I'm going to tell them, no, I want it to look the way I want it to look.
Oh, that's actually, okay, that's really interesting. That happens so my partner's a carpenter, but like very artistic. Yeah, I have a half hour. And sometimes that conflict will come up. Here's the way that it should look. I know the trends. I know the construction. I know the design. And the person with the super fancy house says, I don't want it to look that way.
Mm-hmm.
There's...
I want a purple painting to match my couch.
Yeah, there is a modicum of right and wrong in there. That expert, if you are hiring that expert, it will behoove you to follow their expert opinion.
Or
you
it would
can have
behoove
it
you
purple.
to get the thing you want. And in this particular case, getting the thing that you want, and I guarantee you from my blind tastings, it's not even blind tastings, they can see the label, but they don't know what a Zignum is. They want the Zignum. And drinking that Zignum, I'm not going to drink it. They want to drink it, and doing so, and having them in the market, and having them big, and replacing a Mezcal that does not replant Tobola in the wild, that does not replant Karwinskis in the wild, that does not support artists, that does not, like...
I know, it's all great. Why can't they just make good Mezcal?
Hey, there are enough people making the good Mezcal. We'll keep that to ourselves and let the average consumer who doesn't care have this Mezcal.
I love their practices. It's got to be a both and for me, though. It's got to be.
So I guess in essence, because we have to wrap this because I have to go to my doctor's appointment, I guess in essence the wrap really is that we're never going to agree on this and that you're wrong.
You know, I think the wrap is that we're never going to agree on this and you're wrong.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
That's
I'll catch
fun
you
to
next
think about.
episode.
See you later, Gringex bartenders.
You've been listening to Agave Road Trip, the critically acclaimed award-winning podcast that helps Gringex bartenders better understand agave spirits, and rural Mexico. We're blessed with sound engineering by Roy Sierra and a theme song performed by Gabriel Oliveira and Marco Ricos. Sign up to become a road tripper and listen to more episodes at agaveroadtrip.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please let us know. And if you hated it, well, I'm sure you'll let us know that too. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Agave Road Trip. Agave Road Trip is a production of 10 Angry Pit Bulls, Inc. Agave Road Trip is powered by Simplecast. Thank you for listening to Heritage Radio Network. Heritage Radio Network is food radio supported by you. For our freshest content, subscribe to our newsletter. To subscribe to the Heritage Radio newsletter, enter your email at the bottom of our website, heritageradionetwork.org. Connect with Heritage Radio Network on Instagram and Twitter at heritage_radio. You can also find Heritage Radio Network at facebook.com/Heritage Radio Network. Heritage Radio Network is a nonprofit organization using the power of education
educational storytelling about food to build a more equitable, resilient food system. Heritage Radio Network couldn't do that without support from listeners like you. Become a part of the world's most innovative community today. Subscribe to the shows you like, tell your friends, and please join the Heritage Radio Network family by becoming a member. To become a member of the Heritage Radio Network, click on the beating heart of our homepage. Heritage Radio Network can become addictive. Programming you hear on Heritage Radio Network might lead you to eat, drink, and listen to more programming on Heritage Radio Network. If you drink, please do not drink and drive. Drink responsibly, drive responsibly, eat responsibly too, and listen to Heritage Radio Network responsibly. To listen to Heritage Radio Network responsibly, wear protective earbuds. While wearing protective earbuds, do not drive, do not walk either. Sit in a comfortable chair. If that comfortable chair has a hard seat, please remember to stretch every 30 minutes. If you stretch every 30 minutes, please stay within your defined stressing capacity. And consult a doctor who specializes in stretching. If you don't have a doctor, maybe Dr. Ryan Acock, the Cocktail MD, can help you out. Thanks for listening.
Agave Road Trip out.